Welcome back to Studio F. We're on Fast Times Willy B. We'll be reviewing The Godfather. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Do your thing, Russ.
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Brennan with me. Brennan, how you doing?
Doing good.
So,
Here to talk about a good one.
Great one.
Yes.
So, Brennan and I had the opportunity this past summer to go watch this entire trilogy back to back to back. Quite a marathon.
12 hours.
Yeah, at the Palace Theater, about 20 minutes from here, and it coincided with an Italian festival. So in between movies, we did our thing. Got some strombolis, some Italian desserts,
some cookies.
Yeah, it was a heck of a day, to say the least. But it was actually my first time experiencing this trilogy, so that was a pretty cool way to do it. But now, on my second watch, we're going to sit here and talk about The Godfather. Came out in 1972, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, one of the best to do it. It has an iconic cast, to say the least. It has Marlon Brando, who won Best Actor for his role as Vito Corleone. We got Al Pacino, nominated Best Supporting Actor. James Caan, nominated Best Supporting Actor. Robert Duvall, nominated Best Supporting Actor. Talia Shire, not nominated for anything, but also great. And just a long list of a great cast. This did end up winning 3 Oscars in 1973. It won Best Picture. It won Best Actor for Marlon Brando, and then Best Adapted Screenplay is what they call it these days, but Best Screenplay based on something that had already been written. And then it was nominated for just about everything else. So we'll start with the good, and I'm going to start by saying this is the only category we're going to have for this movie. I'm going to say off the rip, this is one of my, I think I have 10 perfect movies. I don't see a flaw in The Godfather.
Yeah, I don't either.
From acting, which, you just heard the accolades. There's nothing to say about the acting in negative light. The story is an epic one. And one of my favorite things about this movie is it's just got an aesthetic to it.
Oh, for sure.
That it's just like when we were sitting there in the Palace watching it, I'm like, this movie's just a vibe.
That definitely added to everything. In between the breaks of the movie, you obviously step outside and you're just immersed in like this massive Italian festival. Yeah. And so it just definitely added to it, which, like you said, that was your first time watching, so I bet that added just a little bit. Yeah.
And when we were watching the first time, and even on this rewatch, like, starting with the wedding is, I think, the best way to start this movie, because it goes to show how respected Vito is. And, he has all these people coming in asking him for things, and then this whole time you start to get the know that Michael is also very well respected, because the whole time he's looking for Michael to get there. And it's just a great way to introduce you to this family, to really what they do. And it's just, you're instantly locked in. It's not like action packed off the beginning, like you're hearing guns and that's why you're locked in, but it does more than enough to engage you quickly.
Definitely.
And then from there, that's when you get you got Tom going out to talk to the Hollywood head, the big head at Hollywood. Yeah. And that's where you get I'll give him an offer he can't refuse, and the horse head, and that's when you get the introduction to the oranges. There's just like so many little details that make this movie what it is, and it starts off, and I know some people like to say that the Italian, when Michael goes over to Italy, over to Sicily and hiding, it gets a little dry, but even then, I'm locked in, I'm loving it. Yeah. I don't think there's a slow part of this movie for a movie that's 2 hours and 55 minutes.
I could see where, like, if that is, like, people are nitpicking, like, it kind of slows down. I could see that, they're taking from one thing and then completely switching, sending him off, and basically having to restart this whole thing. But, yeah, I'm definitely with you on that there's, for me, not a slow point in this movie.
And anybody that knows me knows I'm usually a bigger fan of movies that try to stick it between the 90 and 120 minute mark.
Yeah.
So getting close to 180 minutes here, I think it's 175 is the total runtime for the first one. it is a rare occasion where a movie of that length does it for me. And there are movies that I love that also do it for me that are, I mean, Wolf of Wall Street, one that pops in my head that's, I think, over 3 hours that I love. And then I love both Dune movies going off of more recent ones, but this is just one that, even for the runtime, I'm locked in the entire time. And it got better with a second watch. It did.
Oh, for sure. I
mean, it's crazy because I absolutely love. I mean, after my first watch, I already said that's a perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it got even better somehow with my second watch.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever stop watching that. Like any excuse to watch it, I'm down for.
Yeah.
And so I was more than happy to do this one.
So we will be tackling the whole trilogy. Which is fun, and I think I might just make that a thing with these yearly. If a movie that gets voted and picked to win has sequels or a trilogy or something, I mean, I'll just probably tackle it all. Just keep that consistent.
It also gives you more options for like 1974. So take Godfather 2 out of it.
Yeah, and then you can go. I mean,
you get one other option.
Yeah,
and then an excuse to do
exactly
more.
So I think we're just going to tackle it that way, but I will say this before we even get to the second and third one. This is my favorite of the trilogy. I know there is a split amongst the movie community on is 1 or 2 better, and you'll hear our full in-depth review of 2 as well. And I love 2, but this one just, it does it for me. From start to finish, I love every minute of it. I think it's having... I love Marlon Brando's video, not to take away from, we'll get into De Niro in the next one, and I love him too, but, I mean, like I said, it's just, the whole time you're watching it, I was almost, like, smiling the whole time I'm watching it, which is weird, because it really is, like, it's a crime, dirty movie.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just got that good aesthetic to it, and it's a fun watch. It's a really interesting story, too. A crazy family. It's fun to follow all of their stories. I mean, following Michael's character from start to finish in this movie is alone worth the watch.
Yeah, he's completely out of the family, and then obviously Vito gets shot, and then like when he sees the newspaper, you can tell just something kind of flips, and then he's from there just slowly sucked into it, and then
because even at the beginning when he's at the wedding and he's talking to Kay, which again I forgot to mention Diane Keaton is also in this movie. When you're talking about cast, she was great too. Very very limited in this movie as far as screen time, but we see her a little more as the movies go on. He's telling Kay like about the family business and how they helped Johnny Fontaine out, and he's like, that's not me though. I don't want to be a part of that. And he's, this war hero. And then, like you said, once the shooting happens, it's just something flips. Yeah. And it's honestly my favorite scene in the movie is not even scene. It's a couple of scenes, I guess, is when they're in the office and they're talking about, and Michael comes up with a plan. Why don't I meet them there? Yeah.
Everybody kind of like writes them off. Like, oh, you're crazy, this and that. And then everybody kind of realized, like, okay, this might be able to be like doable.
And
like,
then the execution of said plan is also like just that span of scenes is my favorite part of this movie. Because they have the talk. They're talking in Italian in the restaurant. He uses the restroom. When he comes out, I love how close they get to on his face, and just great face acting by Pacino.
Yeah.
You could just tell he's ready to do it, but he's kind of working up the courage, and then he does it.
Yeah, I mean, he knows what's coming. He has to leave for, I think Sonny says, at least a year.
Yeah.
And then, it's just going to set up a whole thing that he's just kind of on the run. So.
And this movie is also heartbreaking. The Sonny scene always gets me. When he's going,
death?
Yeah, because he's going to be a good big brother.
I know, and
his hot head leads him to his demise. Everybody said the whole movie Santino's too hot. It's gonna get him in trouble, and he went in there guns a-blazing, and the other people actually had guns. So, but one of my favorite details, and I really looked for it this time because the first time I went into it, I didn't even know about it, and then both my mom and dad had talked about it at some point and how oranges always show up and symbolize death. So I really looked for it this go around, and it was cool to see, like, obviously he's picking out the oranges when Vito gets shot. He doesn't die though. Then Sonny, it's a subtle one. You see the Florida Oranges billboard that he drives past.
And then he cuts the slice or like the peel, puts it in his mouth when he's running around.
Before he dies, the orange is on the table before the head of the horse is chopped off. So it really is cool to go back and see like, wow, there really is like just
subtle things that just build to a lot of it.
And some people say like, oh, I think they did that because it's an otherwise just black and gray movie, so like it adds, which it does. It adds like vibrant colors to the palette, but at the same time, like it's cool that there's a meaning to it in the sense that if
I
you
wouldn't
really
say it's just for that.
Yeah,
like, I think you can tell that there's more than that.
But man, what a movie!
Yeah, I love it. Back to kind of your first watch and like your favorite. I mean, obviously we'll touch on all three of them, but the Palace Theater was my first time rewatching it in a while.
Okay,
and so it was. After watching it, I mean, how often do you just watch back to back to back, almost 3-hour movies?
Yeah.
3-hour movies. I think the third one's quite a bit shorter. But I would definitely say that this is without a doubt my favorite of the three.
Yeah.
But between the first two, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's close. I love both of them. They're equally amazing, but just I don't know, something about this first one.
Yeah.
It's just everything about it.
It's you gotta go with the first one. It started it all, you know?
Yeah.
And I do love that second one. I'm excited to talk about it tomorrow.
I'm excited to rewatch it.
But yeah, that too. But it's just this first one. It's crazy because it came into my life so late, but it almost is like it still has a place in my heart. Is that weird to say? Like I adore this movie. I wish I watched it earlier. I'm kind of surprised I didn't, given I have an Italian family. And you know, whenever I watch this movie, I'm like, was Papa, a Don, and was my dad Michael? Like, because I don't know, they just give me that vibe. I mean, and Papa in his old age, my dad was always there. He was, it reminded me a lot of the ending of this movie, and that's another reason I love it too. Because I think watching it after, obviously last year, losing my grandpa, just the relationship between Vito and Michael, it reminded me a lot of my Papa and Dad, and I think seeing that tugged on the heartstrings a little bit. So it's like an added layer to it, if I watched this when it came out, maybe I didn't feel that, but watching it my first time 3 months after losing my grandpa, I think it kind of tugged something that maybe it wouldn't have had I watched it earlier.
That's true, and just how well, like, they put the family together. Like, they show you how close they are. They show each individual person and, like, I mean, their own story, but at the same time, it's all tied in. I think that just adds a lot to it, how much you can tell family means to one another. And even Tom, he's not even Italian.
He might be like my favorite character, by the way.
I love Tom.
Yeah.
But just how much they accept him. And obviously, they kind of touch on it that it was from a young age, but... Just, I mean,
it's not even just
family, but he's family.
It's not even just Tom. Like, it's almost all of it. Like, Luca Brasi, obviously, he meets his demise pretty early in this movie, but you can tell he has a special place within the family. You can tell that all of these guys that are helping them out, or the guy, I can't think of his name right now, but he's the one teaching Michael how to make the spaghetti sauce.
Oh.
He's like, add a little wine, add a little sugar. Like, even him, like, he ends up working for Michael by the end of the movie. Like, so it's cool. And Vito actually says something during the movie about, like, a man that doesn't go and see his family is a man I can't respect.
Yeah, spending time with your family can't be a real man.
Yeah. And so it just goes again, like, even at the deepest layer of organized crime, family comes first. Yeah. And, I mean, that's probably the ultimate message in this crime movie, but it's just, honestly, the first time that I watched it, I was baffled when Vito gets shot so early in the movie. I'm like, I thought he was,
Right. I mean,
you see the poster, and so I was like, well, he can't be dead. Like,
I mean, no, because then you should know it's 3 hours long, and then you're 20, 30 minutes, however long it is into the movie, he's shot. Like, oh, that's it?
Yeah. So, just crazy movie. I think the effects, obviously very, very practical because it's the 70s, so back then special effects weren't really a thing, but the practical effects were great. I thought the blood was cool. Yeah, man, there's not the score. The score is fantastic.
I love it.
Actually, one of the Oscars got removed from because it reused something from something else, but
I think that's dumb.
Yeah.
You're still, you're still putting it together. Obviously, if it's copy and paste, sure, but bits and pieces, Dune is a recent one that we just talked about before we started, and I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
But can't use bits and pieces. For this one, it's different. Dune 2, obviously, the first two go together, so using bits and pieces of the first one to the second one, which is, I think, what he did, I think shouldn't count against you. They're tying into each other.
But I still think the score here is incredible, iconic. That main theme when it opens up at the beginning of the movie, you get it throughout the movie. It's just, you hear it and you know that's the Godfather. Even before I watched this movie, I knew that was the Godfather. You know what I mean? It's just one of those scores that even if you haven't seen the movie, you know the theme.
People use that for almost anything Italian, I feel like, so.
Cole used it for that little bully video he made for Bob.
Fantasy football, but it had to do anything crime related.
Yeah, it's the go-to, you know? But no, I just feel like there's everything is in the good with this movie.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Acting, cinematography. Like I said, that aesthetic goes along with cinematography. It's just griming you. It's very well shot, very well directed, obviously, very well edited. It also got a nomination in editing. There's nothing to complain about with this one.
Masterpiece.
It is. It truly is. And it's funny because going into it, I was like, I knew the hype. I was like, oh, everybody says, this is one of the greatest of all time. So, I didn't want to set my expectations too high, and after watching, I was like, I get it. I get it.
I don't know. I personally don't know anybody that hasn't given it at least near perfect. Yeah. And I don't think I want to meet the people that are
I think the lowest score I've seen a friend give it's 8.
Yeah. Even that's
way too low.
For me.
Yeah. Anything else for you that really sticks out in the good?
No,
everything.
Things will come and go. I'll probably leave here and think of what's his name that was helping Michael cook the spaghetti and leave the gun, take the cannolis. Yep. It's gonna bother me that on the spot I can't think of his name. But I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, for sure. Costume is another thing I throw in there. Obviously it's very much just.
It's not much, but it adds to it.
It just adds to the and then
I think you see a lot of that at the beginning with the wedding, but that's just because there's so many people. You see
very Italian
how traditional things can be. I don't know much of the Italian culture, but I would assume they're pretty accurate on that.
Gotta give a shout out to the piece that Marlon Brando wears in the mouth to make his mouth look like that.
Oh yeah.
Gotta give a shout out to whoever put that together. Good job, because it just added to the.
Makes him look. I think he wanted to look like a bulldog. Yeah, and I think he did it pretty well. Yeah, and then just the mumbly kind of talk. Yeah, adds
Marlon Brando
just adds a lot to it. Yeah, for sure.
What a cast! I just gotta say that one more time. What an ensemble to put together.
There was that time that we were watching it in the Palace Theater. You were like, "Oh, that's what's his name? Oh, that's what's his name? Yeah. Oh, that's what's his name?" And I'm not.
Because going into the movie, I only knew about Marlon Brando and Al Pacino. Yeah, I didn't know James Caan or
I'm looking at him,
Robert Duvall.
You're right. That looks like him, just 20, 30 years younger than I might be used to seeing him. So, yeah.
Because Rosie came in and sat down and watched a little bit of it with me, and I was like, that's Buddy the Elf's dad. Pointing out things that shoot, and I'm like, that's Buddy the Elf's dad. That's the dad from Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell.
I think once, at least
Adrian from Rocky.
Once you say that, it was definitely I could absolutely see that. Yeah. But, not pointing that out, I don't know when I would have picked up on that.
Yeah. So we'll hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. We're just going to skip the man bad because we don't have anything. We're going to keep that. We're going to keep that a buck. What do you want to leave off with The Godfather, and what do you give it out of 10?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, whatever. It's an absolute masterpiece for me. I think I like more of the crime, mafia kind of movies. I just watched The Casino, Scarface, stuff like that.
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Yeah. Very good. Got to make it around to The Irishman, but man, that's a long movie.
Yeah.
I heard that's slow one too, 3.5 hours or something.
Yeah.
But so I could be biased, but on this one, I don't think I am. I think it's perfect.
I went into it when we went to the palace, and I was like, all right, try to find something. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I couldn't. I'm going 10 out of 10 as well. It is one of my perfect movies. Maybe one day on this channel I'll reveal my list of what I think is my group of perfect movies. Because like I've said on this channel before, a 10 out of 10 doesn't have to be perfect, but a perfect movie has to be a 10 out of 10, obviously. So
I don't know how I feel about that. I think if it's a 10 out of 10, there's no room for growth, so it has to be perfect. But I think in some circumstances I could understand that. Like after I finally started rating movies on Letterboxd, which took a lot out of me. But after rating those, I think I can slowly start to kind of see what you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, man. No complaints from me. No notes.
I'm ready to dive into number 2 after I leave.
Yeah.
I leave here.
You watching that, going into 2, and then 3 might be an interesting conversation.
3.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know some people actually love 3. So you might be interested to see what Brennan and I have to say about 3. That'll do it for the first Godfather. Brennan, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
Thank you all for watching. Stick around, because again, we are doing the whole trilogy, so let us know what you think of all 3 of these movies. Follow along with us and let us know. But if you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos, hit the subscribe button, or follow the social links down below. Anything is appreciated, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Peace.